Hello, and I'm at SuperAI 2025 here in Singapore. And with me today, I'm very pleased and very privileged to have Nikhil, who is with Future AGI.
Yeah, hi.
And
really pleased to have you over here.
Yeah.
Thanks for inviting me.
Thanks for your time. And you are going to be sharing with us on, building what it means to build responsible AI. So the first question, I think many of our audience would say, we have read a lot about, failure modes in AI, right?
Yeah.
Like autonomous cars,
Oh my God, yeah.
crashing into people or vehicles, other vehicles, for example, right? So what are the kind of not interesting, but what are the kind of common maybe failure modes you've seen?
Yeah, I think one of them, the Apple Intelligence. You can see that some simple task like summarization was not good. So even like big company like Apple can go wrong. We have seen a very common failures in terms of chatbot. For example, user is asking for a different some product, but it gave you some other product. There was other one failure in Canadian airline. So basically, user was able to ask for refund for and yeah, they have to do it. I think that these are like very well-known failures that we have seen, but we have seen more product failures because we were working with a client and they deployed a crime detection, for example, for detecting fights and everything, and their AI failed. So basically a guy started dancing. The dancing got recognized as fighting. I have seen very, very, very funny failures in AI.
Right. I guess some of
Yeah.
them it can bring a laugh to us,
Yeah.
but some could have disastrous consequences,
exactly.
right?
Yeah.
So Future AGI, which is your company, right? You build products to help us to build
Yes.
responsible AI.
Yeah.
And a couple of modules are, for example, explainability. So how we explain AI's
Yes.
decisions.
Yes.
And one is evaluating AI.
Yes.
So assessing, I guess, AI against, say, our benchmarks.
Yes.
Right? So I think one question that many people would say is that AI is just another software, right?
Yeah.
So evaluating AI,
Yeah.
how different is it from evaluating a traditional software?
Okay. So think it like in normal software. The failures you can see the failures. For example, you have an exception in your code, because think the normal software as a deterministic code. Only or either A will happen or B will happen or C will happen. So that was the deterministic software thing. Now with generative AI, it's more probabilistic. So anything happen, the output that you have. So if you ask ChatGPT, hello, all the 5 times it will give you different answer for hello, because that probabilistic nature is in it, right? So for example, you have a service-based chatbot or any of the AIs for this. So it's not necessary that it will take the same decision again and again. And the other thing is, for example, you're building a service-based chatbot. You don't know what type of questions that user will ask to your AI. So your input to a system, or you can say your software, you don't know. But in deterministic nature, you know what are the things that are going into your system, right? So for example, let's say self-driving cars, right? You have to cover all the scenarios, which are basically maybe even someone jumping in front of you, or so you have to cover all the different scenarios that are there, and scenarios keep on changing, right? So for example, roads in US will be very different than roads in Asia. So it's not like, let's say, if some self-driving car created in San Francisco, if you put over here, it won't work because it haven't seen that data. So it's same for chatbot. So it haven't seen that data, so it cannot know that what the common failure point are, and you trust me, you cannot cover all the things what are there.
Okay, right. Okay, so the chatbot is adapting to the different types of questions.
Yes.
So I think the audience will ask, okay, then how do you check then what is right? Because your rules will have to adapt as well.
Yeah, exactly. So for example, you can in evaluation you can define what is your agent goal is. For example, when you are evaluating an other chatbot, my aim is that his queries need to be satisfied. Okay, user has asked for a product. Am I able to tell him the right product or not? Right. So we see the input query of the users, and then we see the output, what your chatbot is doing, and then you know what, you're not able to tell for electronics product correctly. or you're not able to tell for, let's say, a sports product correctly, because your AI is biased towards few things. These small type of evaluation we can build into the system, so we can also have very complex evaluation. So we can define those evaluation and we make sure that it is doing the right thing.
Okay, so I take an example of self-driving car. So
Yeah.
one goal could be, please do not crash.
Yeah, exactly.
So I guess it will then learn that there are various ways of avoiding a collision,
Yeah.
right? Even taking big detours and things like that.
Yeah. So in a self-driving car, the evaluation can be, are you with basically for the sensors, so you're making good distance in terms of from other cars. Are you able to detect other humans correctly? Are you able to make the right turns at the right time correctly? And you in different weathers, when you're going below, let's say if it's raining and going under the tunnel, is my AI correctly working? What are the common pitfalls? So these can be the evaluation for a self-driving car. So we are covering all the edge cases, right? For example, when the gate is open, right? When gate is open and you have a stop sign, the car can go, right? But if the gate is closed and there is still the stop sign is there, you need to stop. So different things in different in different stages means differently. So are you able to are you recognizing all those patterns or not? We check everything on that. Evaluation for a different application actually looks different. It's not like one evaluation that you can do for everything.
Right. We hear a lot about, you also touch very quickly on, bias, making sure that the output is not biased. It sounds so simple, right?
Yeah,
Please,
oh my God.
financial, I don't know, AI, right?
Yeah.
Please approve a loan. Please do not disapprove if, the person is
Yeah.
less than, I don't know, 25 years old,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
So so bias sounds quite
Yeah.
simple, but actually it's not, is it?
Yes, it's quite complex. Bias can look very different for different applications. For finding bias, it's a very different task, to be frank. So we can recognize the patterns in biases, but if decision is taken, for example, loan approval, disapproval, it's really hard to tell is it biased or not. We can just compare to a data set which is there. For example, let's say AI is trained on a data where say 20% and it was disapproving, but let's say when you're predicting something and rate of not approving a loan is, let's say, more than 50%, then we can say, you know what, it is way beyond the distribution that it has seen. Probably you have bias in your AI. Right.
Of course, the threshold then is you set the threshold,
Yeah.
right? If
Yeah.
it could be 70%, and
Yeah.
that's what your threshold is for determining that
Yeah.
it is a bias,
Yeah.
right?
So for example, I'll take an example from interview agents. So basically, an interview agent, we have seen a lot of bias in terms of colleges, right? So if a good college is there, for example, Stanford, we have seen a lot of agents saying, you know what, select this. So a lot of agents, in terms of screening out candidates, have inherent bias for colleges, right? So that bias we're able to recognize because from the data set that they were initially trained on, let's say the distribution is just 20%, but you are screening all the candidates who are from a good college, and if it's like a lot, then you can tell, you know what, you're screening a lot of candidates, but you should not. It's like it should be near around 20 or 13% that we have seen. So then you have a bias.
Right, okay. So I guess what you're bringing up is a very important point. The training database itself has to
Yeah.
be representative, right?
Yeah.
So it actually has to start from the beginning, isn't
Yes.
it? Right?
Yeah.
It's a bit too late now if we, down the road we set
Yeah.
the threshold
Yes.
to prevent the bias. So the other aspect to building responsible AI is explainability. So, all these decisions that come out from the AI,
Yeah.
it has to be able to explain, right?
Yes.
So, for example, again, taking the example of bias, right? Why do you select, this candidate from,
Yeah.
I don't know, Stanford University,
Yeah.
right? That you expect that the AI would be able to, I don't know, explain the different steps to arrive at that decision?
Yeah. So now, how these generative AI applications have been building is they are trying to have something called chain of thought into it. So they inherently tell you the criterias where they are able to tell you, you know what, I selected this candidate because of these many points. So, basically it's like talking out loud. Like, okay, you know what, I have to.
That's right.
So
That's right.
these are the candidates. So I think these are the five criteria that I need to filter the candidate on. I see these many criteria, then I think this candidate should be selected, right? So this is how people are right now adding explainability
Yep.
into the system. Into our evals also we kind of add explainability. For example, why certain things failed, why didn't they pass. So we tell the criteria, okay, you know what, we judged on these many criteria. On these criteria it failed, and that's why I think your AI performance is bad. So on the same thing, we trying to have the same explainability in the same process.
We also hear a lot about, AI judges, so AI evaluating AI.
Yes.
What does that mean?
Yeah. So I would take a step back and before generative AI era. So it takes an creating of AI maybe around 6 to 8 months. So it was in a handful of guys where you have very domain expertise. They take the data, they train some algorithm on. It's like just getting the data will take you 6 months. Then improving on it will take some another time. So you need to have good data to doing it. Now with generative AI, what you have is you don't need a data. You just write a simple prompt, and things are done. Think about OpenAI, right? They have so many queries coming in every day. If they have to improve their system, right? Just think about them. If they have to improve their system, they need some automated manner to flag out, let's say, few customer sessions which are they are not able to tell the answers correctly, because they cannot have a human sitting over there, right? Flagging all the wrong answers. So we need some automated manner to flag out all those things. When we were pre-generative AI, we had just human in the loop. So there was actually like a team of 20 humans actually sitting over there. So that's why the AI development was very, very, very slow. And that's the different right now, that we can just write one line of prompt and AI is created. Building an AI has become really fast. Even you can, anyone non-technical can right now create an AI. But how do you verify at a huge scale that it is working correctly? You cannot hire 50 or 20 humans to check the outputs that it is correct or not. It won't scale. Even when you're developing it, you cannot read all the outputs of your agent or chatbot, that am I covering all the cases, right? So that's why we created AI evaluations for judges. We even trained our own LLMs so that they can recognize the AI output correctly to an accuracy of 99%, right? Even we cannot go 100%, but that accelerates your rate to develop an AI. And so now I don't need a team of, let's say, 20 experts in the field. I don't need a human to read all through all my output. Even when I'm in production, right? For example, thousands of users are using my LLMs, so then I can use these AI evaluators to know that my AI is performing correctly and what are the areas where it is not performing correctly, so that I can go back and know the common failure points and then improve my system again.
Right. And obviously, we still can't discard human in the loop, can we?
Yeah.
Right. You have AI judging AI, but you still need the humans as
exactly. So over there, so where humans will come in, where in the last in the loop. So previously, let's say you need 20 humans, maybe you just need 1 or 2 humans to verify the flag points, or to verify maybe the higher risk points, that okay, you know what, the system is working correctly, and to improve the AI more. So for verification, we obviously have humans. We cannot remove them. Yeah.
well, I'm going to mention something that's quite controversial. If you have a biased human,
Yeah.
even human in the loop is not going to help a biased
Exactly, yeah.
output. So the same with AI. If it's trained with biased output, even a biased AI judging a biased AI is not going to help. But that's a
Yeah.
separate conversation, I
Yeah.
think. I just want to ask one last question, right? Your company is called Future AGI,
Yeah.
right? I'm sure you get this question a lot. What does AGI mean to you?
Yeah. I think that's a very fundamental question. We name our company Future AGI because we are essentially helping other AI to improve them, right? So we are kind of a general AI layer, which, so as I said, I mentioned 2 3 points, which is bringing the AI development down. I feel the future is AI, where AI will be the new software. So everyone to build an AI, right? Either they will need a lot of humans in place, because it's like, again, annotating the data, finding out the patterns where it failed, and everything. You need to have the correct data, correct testing, correct human in the loop to again verify it. So it will be very long loop. So I strongly feel that in future AI will replace the software. To do that, we need to have faster iteration cycle, right? We need to maybe 10x of improvements what we are doing in terms of AI. So this future AGI that we are creating is you can think it as a teacher layer for AI, which sees where AI is not performing well, telling them again, it is not performing well over here, and then improving it. For us, that is artificial general intelligence, when an AI is improving other AI and helping it to do a lot of tasks and self-improvement kind of.
Oh, right. Okay. So autonomously planning, making decisions,
Yeah.
delegating tasks,
Yeah.
executing on actions.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So it will help, for example, other AIs to improve them automatically, collect the data and everything. Yeah.
Right. It sounds like there's going to be a community of AI that we are going to be living next to or working with in the future.
Yeah.
Going to the sci-fi world, I guess. I think there's a lot of movies I can talk about, but that's a separate podcast. But thank you so much, for spending some time to talk to us extremely briefly on building responsible AI.
Thank you for being a wonderful host.